Sportsline Podcast continues to roll right on, and we appreciate you checking us out. I'm Bubba O'Neill. As I said just one day ago, Southern Ontario, and in particular the Golden Horseshoe, was a gold medal winner for outstanding athletes, coaches, executives, media members, and sporting events. Now, in just a couple of weeks, the water world will be competing and watching in St. Catharines. For only the third time in the long history of this event, the World Rowing Championships will be held at the Royal Canadian Henley Rowing Course in Port Dalhousie. Folks, this regatta will feature over 2,000 athletes from over 60 countries. In addition to the competition for titles, fans, they will all be treated to a compelling series of events to entertain visitors of all ages. Let's dig a little deeper into this international extravaganza with co-chairman and one-time mayor of St. Catharines, Walter Sendzik. Hey, thanks for joining us, partner.
Bubba, thanks for having me. It's honor. I'm actually honored to be here.
What?
This is great.
You should be honored to be doing what you're doing with this World Rowing. Like this is, as I said, this is an international extravaganza. You've got to be pumped up.
We're pumped, and we're in the final stretch. We're in the final leg of getting ready for the world to come to St. Catharines, Niagara. It's been a long journey. It started in 2019 when myself, as mayor, and Bill Shank, who is the chair of the event and everything, he and I went to Austria to to do the presentation, to say St. Catharines would be a great host for this Worlds, and it was at that event that we were awarded the 2024's Mega Rowing Championships. And what a journey it's been, and I can't believe it's days away.
Gotta ask you about what you are. I don't want to get into mayoral stronghold powers and all that kind of stuff. That's not your issue anymore. But for people that are wondering, I've known that name before. 8 years as the mayor of St. Catharines.
Yeah, 2014 to 2022. Again, honor of a lifetime to be able to represent my hometown. And a lot of great memories, including the opportunity to go and travel and secure an event like this. And as you said, this is only the third time that we'll have hosted a World Championship event. And it's a huge economic generator for the community. But it's also an opportunity to put St. Catharines, Niagara on the international map. And look, a lot of folks come to Niagara Falls as that tourism destination from around the world. Well, here we've got 2,000 athletes from around the world, over 60 countries, as you said, Bubba, coming in, and over a eight day calendar of racing and opportunity to compete for the title of being the best rowers in the world. The heart of it's going to be right in hometown of St. Catharines.
It's amazing to me, and the world will be watching. This is a sport especially coming off the Olympics. Someone like Kristen Kitt coming in there, what her success is.
Yeah, silver medal for the eights.
And boy, she really knows how to work that crew, doesn't she?
Gold in Tokyo, silver in Paris. And when you look at the rowing course itself, we just completed the Henley Regatta, which is 140 years old. So the DNA of rowing is in Niagara. It's embedded in who we are, and to see the international success of those athletes, and they're from across Canada, and some of them got their start in St. Catharines. Others have come through St. Catharines to row in Schoolboy or Henley or the University Championships on their way to representing the country. And just think, those athletes that are Canadian, this is only the third time, the second since 2009, since 1999, that they're going to be in their home country. It doesn't happen very often. And so what we're hoping is that a lot of folks come out. It's from the 18th to the 25th. They come out. The tickets are affordable, $15 a ticket to watch the races. And then we have a festival experience that we're going to touch on in a bit. But the opportunity for them to race in front of their family, their friends, and Canadians who are going to be cheering on all of these athletes coming off of the Olympics. It's going to be exciting.
I'll tell you, and it's funny, God graced St. Catharines, Port Colborne area with we just saw some shots there of a wonderful part of the country which was just man-made, or at least God-made, for an event like this.
Yeah, and when you look at you look at Port Dalhousie, which is the sort of hamlet that was the origin of the Welland Canal. So don't forget, in 2029, the Welland Canal is going to be 200 years old. And that is that navigation system that bypasses Niagara Falls to be able to move ships up and down through Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. And so that area has been a marine area, a nautical area for so long. And 140 years ago, they started racing these boats, and they were regattas. The rowing became a thing. And then to see it today, and it's completely changed from what it was 140 years ago, but to see what it is today, and to see the athletes from over 60 countries competing in this sport on the smallest of a shell on the water of Martindale Pond is it's really something to behold.
I've actually driven by there a couple of times when there's no events going on, or maybe there's a couple of boats just warming up, practicing, and it is the most peaceful, calm. I know it won't be that way for a couple of weeks, but what a beautiful area! Like, what a beautiful spot. The trees around. It's a wonderful area.
It is a beautiful, picturesque space, and when you look at the city purpose-built Henley Island, and then that's where the athletes will congregate. The Neil Campbell Rowing Center, which is a state-of-the-art rowing center on Henley Island, which was purpose-built for the Canada Summer Games, which was 2 years ago. So you see the infrastructure that has been integrated into making this a world-class course. And what I found, and Bill Shank, who's also part of World Rowing, he's one of the judges, and he's also on the board. He is the overarching architect of this World Championships. And when you look at the infrastructure, and as it compares to an Austria or an Italy, where they have rowing courses, our course is right up there with some of the best courses in the world. In North America, we are the best course in North America. Europeans, they have a number of different rowing courses. We're right up there. And it's because we've invested in the infrastructure. We've built rowing centers. And let's not forget Brock University, which is just down the road. That's where all the athletes are going to be staying. So
I got to go. Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Yeah, the athlete village.
It's amazing to me, like you said, the infrastructure that has actually been made for this event to go off and actually be viable as well too. I want to go back to the bidding process here, because that's an important part. You've got to sell the city. You have to sell everything that we just talked about, the natural ability, the city itself. Who else were you going up against?
So in that one, we were going up against Germany and another Austrian city, and the final one was in you put me on the spot here, but the final one was either Italy. It was Italy, Germany, and Austria. So there was another course in Austria we were against. And yeah, you had to go up there and you had to talk about your communities. And it was interesting because the president of World Rowing at the time had said to me, he was German, and he said, I remember 1999 rowing in St. Catharines and how beautiful the course was. And when the votes came down, it was one of those things where we were sitting at the back of the room and waiting for all the votes to be counted from the different countries who were representative of World Rowing. And then they went up and they announced 2024 goes to St. Catharines. And it was a high water mark for me and Bill Shank and so many others, Carol Purser from Rowing Canada, and there was a number of people that were there. Kristen Kitt was there. She was there as part of the rowing that she was participating in. And then coming back to the community, and there's been so many people who have volunteered countless hours over the last number of years to really get us to where we are today, ready to welcome the world of rowing into our community. And for those throughout Ontario and beyond to be able to come into St. Catharines and watch the best rowing in the world.
Just good sport.
Great sport.
Like just a great sport in itself. You talked about it. 2,000 athletes. There's so much going on. But what I like about this is not I think the word was mega, right? That's because it's not just one age group. This is several age groups in this competition.
So you got U19, which is the up-and-coming best rowers in the world. You got U23. Those are the ones that are going to, at some point in the next year, 2 or 3 years, migrate to Olympic status. And then you've got the seniors. Those are ones who have rowed in the Olympics. And so you've got this breadth of talent that you're going to be able to see from different parts of the world converging on Henley Island. And as part of the competition, you're going to see some amazing athletes. And just like at the Canada Games. And so there was athletes who performed at the Canada Games in Niagara, in St. Catharines at the Canada Games Park. And to watch the Olympics in Paris, and you're seeing the names of and I remember watching these young athletes 2 years ago on the track in St. Catharines at Brock University by Brock and Thorold, and then all of a sudden you see them in Paris and you go, oh my, I love that. And that's what we get to experience. And I'll be like, honestly, Bubba, there's not many opportunities where in these kind of sports where you can be that close to talent that is going to go and represent the country and represent other countries for a number of years to come, where you can say, I was there and I watched, the Marnie McBeans, the Silken Laumans, those great
big names.
And they all rode at some point on Martindale Pond. Well, this is the next generation of the Marnie McBeans, of the Wendy Weebs, of the Silken Laumans, who will take the waters representing Canada. Great opportunity to bring families out and say, let's go watch this.
That's why we love junior A hockey so much.
100%, right?
We love seeing it. We love the Ice Dogs. They're like, these are the guys you're going to see when you flip the switch in a couple of years. They're going to be in the National Hockey League. There's another aspect of this, which I think is so interesting, para-rowing.
Yes.
All represented. So
we have it's a full abilities mega worlds. So the para athletes, they're competing, and that was the interesting piece about building this competition, is making sure that we were investing in the infrastructure that made it accessible to all. And so, unlike other rowing events where they may not have the para part of it, we had to make sure that we had the boats, the safety boats. We had to make sure that we had the ramps for the athletes to be able to access the podium. The small things where you don't, unless you do and have people who are in situations like who can see it from a para athletic perspective, to be able to design the stage in the right way so that everybody can access it. These are all the small pieces where we were looking at it going, okay, we have to invest in that as well in order to get us to that place.
And I think that's neat, too, that you're going to be able to just have everyone here. But to have so many people from so many countries, they got to be somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's hard. Like, this is and obviously, this was an area, this was a city that's able to house all these athletes. Can you tell me about where these people are going to be staying?
Well, again, going back to the Canada Summer Games, we had 5,000 athletes, and larger than the Summer Olympics. And we had them in the Niagara community. So they were able to, Brock University was able to access all of its accommodations to be able to host that number of athletes. And so let's just say, in our respect, from the rowing world, that was a test to see what we could do. Well, Brock University did an amazing job. The volunteers that helped were amazing. And so we knew that Brock was going to be able to be at the table, create that village experience so all the athletes can be secure and be in that location. And they're just down the road. You get on the 406, you get off closer to Port Dalhousie. The travel time is even not that long. Like, I remember going in Austria, we had to get on a bus, and then we had to sit on the bus for a while outside of Linz, Austria. We had to sit on that bus, sit on the bus, and finally we get to the course. Here it's like 7 minutes and you're at the course. And
they're fed there, and the transportation back and forth, that's all taken care of.
It's all secure, so there's no issues on any of the, highly secured. And it's going to be great. Going to be great for them, and that's why, again, we're able to showcase. And what I love about it is Brock's able to showcase to this larger audience of U19s, U23s, and their parents, and people can look at Brock as a academic institution, but also that excels at something like rowing.
Right.
So they start to attract athletes who want to come to Brock for that specific program.
That's cool. Now, I think this is great for the athletes, but this is good for the area. This is great 100%. For St. Catharines. This is great for Thorold. And you've set this up that it's not just the rowing. It's a show. Like, this is a week of just spotlighting the city, spotlighting downtown, there's events everywhere going on outside of just the rowing itself.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we wanted to make sure. We've learned from, again, things like the Canada Games, where you create that festival experience. And look, Niagara is a festival community. The Niagara Grape and Wine Festival, Canal Days in Port Colborne. You've got Cicada Fest, a big music festival. You've got all these different festivals, and that's just off the tip of my. You got the Peach Festival, you got the Cherry Festival. There's all these different festivals. I always say Niagara's festival country. Well, we created a fan festival around World Rowing, and I remember being with the Minister of Sport for Ontario, Neil Lumsden, and we were looking at, it was part of a discussion, a panel discussion, and he was talking about what Hamilton had done with the Grey Cup and how the game is just the game. It's a 3-hour game. That's it. And if you just focused on the game and that was all you paid attention to, you didn't do any of the other activations around it, it's really just a 3-hour football game. But when you create a week-long experience around it and you throw in concerts and you throw in opportunities to learn the sport, then it becomes more interactive and you get much more of an attraction for it. And so, we've learned a lot in the Niagara community about sport attraction. And what we found with what we've done with the rowing piece is we've got from the 21st to the 24th, we've got activations at night. So there's right beside the course, you've got the rowing course, the Henley, and right at the end is a place called Rennie Island. And it's a purpose-built island. And that island is turned into a festival where you have a concert stage, you have interactions that people can get into a rowing shell. They can feel what it's like to be in a there's things that they can learn about the game as well as learn about the Niagara community. And then we've got Scott Hellman coming one night. He's anchoring one of the shows. We've got the Trues.
Nice.
They're coming in. We've got DJ Shubs coming in, and he's from a tribe. He was part of a tribe called Red. And you've got these different nights of music. We got a country music night, and all of that is free. And so it brings the community to the place of sport, and we do it in a free way so that all the sponsors that have generously stepped in, they're the ones like we've recovered those costs through sponsorship, and they get free concerts. And then those who want to participate and watch the rowing, that takes place during the day. So you've got this extended period of time that people can come into Port Dalhousie. We've built the transit around there, so you could take the bus in. You don't have to come right into Port Dalhousie. We've got places where you can drop off your car, take the bus in, 2-minute bus ride, take the bus in with your family. Really just, creating a best-in-class experience for the casual fan, the rowing fan, and then the families who just want to come out and have a good time.
Best part about that is from everything you said there is from what I'm getting is that one, you don't have to be a major fan. You don't have to be like a rowing fanatic, okay? No. You could fall in love with the sport by coming and watching the events as well, too. But I think with all the events that are going on around the city, that it is attracting not just one particular group of people. It's all ages. Yeah. Young, old, regardless, in the middle, whatever. Yeah. Like, come to St. Catharines and enjoy this week. Will there, I would guess there would have to be some kind of outstanding economic impact for the city of St. Catharines for this.
So they estimate, and we'll know after the event is completed, they estimate on an event of this size, 2,000 athletes. You factor in the parents that will be coming with a lot of these athletes and their extended family. What we found is because it is first time in North America in decades that a lot of the athletes are bringing their extended family because they'll do things like they'll go to Niagara Falls. So the estimated impact is $20 million just for the city of St. Catharines. And then you look at the impact on the province of Ontario and the country. It is a significant impact. You look at the number of nights they're going to be staying, the number of things they're going to go. They're going to go to the shopping malls. They're going to go to the restaurants. It is a huge, and that's just when you look at the athletes. But we're talking about people coming in from the GTA, people coming in from the eastern seaboard of the United States, coming in, converging. That is a huge economic impact. And that's why when, again, you talk to Minister of Sport from the province of Ontario, Neil Lumsden, and you look at the need to support these kind of global events, what we hope for moving forward is that the province and the federal government, they see this as an opportunity to not just invest in sort of the sport itself, but also see the economic benefit of it. And that's what we hope these events do, is shine a light on the importance of sports tourism.
People have to move around, though, to get from place to place. And I know you were talking about, and I think just knowing some of the areas, as you said, a lot of these places are walkable for crying out loud, which is great. But still, there has to be a transportation. I'm sure, is it St. Catharines Transit or Niagara Transit? They're going to be pushed real hard, I would guess, through the next couple of weeks.
And we have, people can go to STC Rowing St. Catharines, and then that's the World Rowing site. St. Catharines World Rowing we have our own website, and then there's World Rowing on the festival site, which is the St. Catharines STCWorldRowing.com. You can go there and you can see the transportation routes. We've secured space at schools, high schools just outside of Port Dalhousie. That's where the shuttles will take place, where you can go park and then shuttle your way in. That is the best way to get in, because as you said, Bubba, it's all walkable. So on one of the nights during the week, there's also the Port Dalhousie Supper Market, and that takes place in Lakeside Park, famous from Rush, Lakeside Park, of which also features
Lakeside Park.
There you go. I was going to do it, but I can't sing. And it was. We also have the Neil Peart Pavilion there, and so the famous drummer for Rush, and from St. Catharines, Port Dalhousie. And that supper market now becomes part of the experience as well. So you can go down. It's going to have food trucks. It's going to have music. It's going to have beverages from Niagara. So, it really is going to be, on any given day of the week between the 18th and the 25th, it is going to be an immersion, not just in the actual sport of rowing, but an immersion into the community of St. Catharines. And it's going to be an opportunity to learn about our history, and it's a marine history with the canal and with the rowing. It's actually going to be. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm tired but excited.
How can you not be? Because, like I said, this is not just. I mean, and it was great to have the Canada Games and all that. But that's just that's a nation thing.
Yes.
But this is a worldwide thing. It's a whole new level.
Yes.
Now, and because it's a whole new level, because it's so massive, because there's so much to do, you cannot run. And I know you guys are getting pushed hard on the board side and everyone you have, but nothing like this can run with success without the help of volunteers.
Right.
That's the heart of this tournament, of this event.
The unique nature of what we have to our advantage here, and this was one of the sell features for when we went to Austria, was the fact that for 140 years we've had volunteers who have been putting together the Henley and the Henley Regatta, which brings in about 1,500 athletes from Canada, the United States, and you may get some international competition coming in, but largely it's a North American regatta. Those volunteers, and there's generations of volunteer knowledge there, and those volunteers have stepped up in a huge way. And built on top of that is, for the Canada Games, we had 5,000 volunteers.
Wow!
So we were able to tap into that audience, and there's so many people in Niagara that just put their hand up and said, "Yeah, like, what can we do?" Because you're bringing the world to the community. They want to be the ambassadors. They want to be the ones that help the athletes figure out where they got to go. They want to be there to help the judges and the technicians know that they're in the right place at the right time. And so something like this is a huge undertaking. It's going to take 1,000+ volunteers.
Wow.
They're all lined up and they're all ready to go. And in addition to the board led by Bill Shank and so many others, there's also an organization called Sport Niagara, and they are there to help organize the event side of sport, and they have done an outstanding job. Dan Kennedy and Matt Milne and Victoria Wixon, they've been involved in this. And so you really get a sense to host the world, you've got to have a great team. And like you said, Bubba, it's the volunteers that have all come together to make this a very special event.
Because there's so many things to do. You could be a driver, you could be a ticket person, you could be helping with the timing, you could be at an event itself, you could be at one of the rock concerts. It's an amazing thing. And what I like about this, and I remember in 2019 when the Tiger Cats went to face the Blue Bombers and got defeated, unfortunately, in Calgary, and I remember getting off the plane, and like within a second, there was a lady with a cowboy hat on. Welcome to Calgary, right? And I don't know if people recognize how good that makes you feel.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And that's an important part. And it's those people that are shining the civic pride. And that's so key.
Well, it's interesting because you bring that up, and part of the volunteer role is to be at Pearson International to welcome the athletes when they come off the plane. Mm-hmm. And those were, like, when you look at the details of what goes into building these type of events, yeah, that was one of the ones. Who's going to be at Pearson? Put your hand up. Who's going to be there to welcome the athletes when they? Because think of it, U19s, U23, they're going to be. This is going to be largely their first time to North America.
Great point.
And so all of a sudden they get off the plane and there's going to be someone going, "Hey, welcome to Canada," and a sign that says we're going to Niagara.
Think that too.
I just hope the traffic's not that bad on the highway.
Come on, we're in Southern Ontario. QEW. Mr. Ford, can you help us out with a couple more lanes? Even your venture coming in here.
I know.
Tell you, it's just part of what we got to deal with here in the area that we live in. It's just, and as more people come to our area and more people get attracted to our area and realize what a gold mine it is, well, people are going to be flocking on the highways. Tickets, packages, how does anyone get involved and get, I mean, there has to be people that are watching this right now saying, how do I get and watch this actual international event?
The best way is to get the tickets on St. Catharines. So it's STC World Rowing, and you go to that website. It has all the fan festival information, has all the ticket information, and it will link you to the World Rowing site that has all the rowing timing. So the 18th is when the races start, and then on the 23rd, 24th, and 25th is what the big championship weekend. So you get to see all the times. And as I said, like $15 to get a ticket for the day. Like, where can you get a $15 ticket today and see some of the best rowers in the world? And I'm not trying to oversell that. Like, these are accomplished athletes who are going to be there representing all countries. And this is what I love about this world event, is there's going to be some competition where Canada's not going to be, say, they may not have a crew there, or they may not make it to the finals, but you're there and you're cheering on all of the athletes. And I got to tell you, for someone who hasn't experienced being at the grandstand, at the finish line, the roar of the crowd as the rowers get closer, that roar of the crowd, and because don't forget, they're rowing 2,000 meters, right? And so you see them from a distance, and then all of a sudden they're getting closer and closer, and you can see, like, if there's one of those tight races, and then people are just shouting and cheering. It just gives you the goosebumps when you're standing there. It is an awesome experience.
And the way it's set up with the big stand there too. It's populous. Like,
yes.
if you start cheering, I start cheering. And you're right. Watching that sport, and hopefully some people got maybe for the first time exposed during the Olympics to see 3 or 4 boats, a little ahead, like that too. It just brings out emotion in you, and you can't help but cheer for one boat, right? Right? And it's just, and everyone's standing up and cheering, and right down to maybe a photo finish.
Oh, yeah.
It really is a wonderful feeling. And I mean, at the core of all that's going on, this is about the races, it is about the athletes, and I think this is going to be a wonderful week in St. Catharines and Niagara. Well, let's include Niagara because there's so much going on there. Congratulations early to your committee for sculpting together a world-class event. This is going to put our area on the map. I think that's probably what you thought of earlier when you kind of introduced this and you pitched this idea. I'll tell you, Walter, congratulations.
A lot of people have made an effort on this, and I want to, again, City of St. Catharines has stepped up. Mayor Cisco and Brian York and their team, economic development, the province of Ontario and the federal government, they've stepped in and helped with infrastructure support. Like, it has been a team effort, and I can't wait. Like, you know how you get that anticipation towards either Christmas or your birthday? It's like, I can't wait for that day to happen. It's starting to build with me now because it's been a long journey since 2019.
Right.
to where we are today, this is going to be, it's going to be an amazing experience for everybody. I'm just encouraging, come on out. Everybody come on out. It's going to be amazing.
Love your enthusiasm, but you're also reminding me of a young guy that is well prepared for his test because you're going to ace it. You know you're going to ace it. Well done.
I appreciate that.
Thanks for joining us on the Sportsline Podcast.
It has been an honor to be here.
Look forward to the event. That's your Sportsline Podcast for the day. And as you've just seen and heard, we love talking sports. And we love it when big-time sports come to Southern Ontario. If you do know of an athlete, team, or of events to promote, the Sportsline Podcast, we do want to hear from you. Please hit that thumbs up, like, and subscribe button. And if you have something to say, please comment. We do appreciate it. For the wonderful people that make our Sportsline Podcast possible, thank you so very much, folks. And we'll see you tomorrow.